Have you ever wished you could see the world with fresh eyes just for a day? Well, today we're diving into a really cool concept that's all about that, the beginner's mind. At its very heart, it's about, well, observing the universe with childlike eyes. It's this idea of returning to a state of wonder, of seeing things just as they are, not through the filter of everything we think we know. It's about getting back to a fundamental starting point. So, that starting point, our source material has a great name for it, the view from zero. And this is really the core perspective of the beginner's mind. It's a state where you see everything as connected without slapping judgments on it. Now, I know non-dual perception sounds a little abstract, right? To help us get a handle on it, the source proposes this really unique model. It asks, what if we could describe our thoughts using the language of quantum mechanics? Now, just to be clear, this is purely a metaphor, a framework they call quantum thought mechanics. But it gives us a surprisingly powerful way to visualize how our own consciousness works. So let's unpack that metaphor. We're going to look at the core components of this quantum model for thought and see how it really shines a light on what the beginner's mind is all about. Okay, first up, we've got this symbol, the TCAT. And look, don't worry about the physics jargon. For our purposes, it's just a simple way to represent a single thought, one little blip of consciousness, as its own distinct state. And next, we have O. That's the observer. This is the part of our consciousness that actually interacts with that thought. Think of it as the operator that acts on the ticket and shapes where it goes, taking it from its initial state to its final one. So what is this observer really? In this model, we can picture it as a matrix. Or an easier way might be to think of it as a lens or a filter. It's got this set of internal values that basically determines how we perceive and, more importantly, react to any thought that passes through it. But here's the thing. That lens, that filter, it isn't static. Not at all. It changes throughout our lives, which brings us to our next section, the evolving observer. And this is where it gets really fascinating. At birth, our observer is like an identity matrix. It's simple, it's pure, it's totally non-reactive, it just sees. But over time, with every single experience we have, it becomes this complex and highly reactive matrix that fundamentally changes how we perceive, well, everything. And this reshaping is happening constantly. I mean, every single thing we see, hear, feel, and learn, all of it is continuously changing the values inside our personal observer matrix. Our lens on the world is always being conditioned by what we go through. So if our internal matrix just gets more complex and more reactive as time goes on, what if we could return to that original, simpler state? This brings us to a really beautiful idea inside this model, the power of nothing. Remember that simple state at birth, that identity matrix? Its special power is that it does, well, nothing. When it acts on a thought, it doesn't twist it or react to it, it just observes. It's purely contemplative. This is the model's way of showing us what a state of pure, non-reactive awareness looks like. This begs a pretty big question then. How do we get back to that state? Well, the source suggests a kind of path. It starts at birth with that pure identity matrix. Later in life, what we might call a spiritual awakening can be a temporary return to that state. And enlightenment in this model is simply stabilizing the observer in that calm, contemplative identity state for good. Okay, so we've talked about the theory, but what does this all mean in practice? What does it actually feel like to operate from this state of mind? Let's take a look at life through this new lens. When you start to see the world from this beginner's mind, certain qualities just naturally bubble up. And it all kind of stems from a sense of lightheartedness. You get this sense of humility. You start seeing the connection in everything. You feel this profound awe at the sheer impossibility of existence. And you find yourself detached from all the anxieties of the past and future. And this isn't some new or isolated idea. This perspective, this whole way of being, is a common thread that you can find woven through the teachings of incredible figures all throughout history. From ancient masters like Laozi and the Buddha, to more modern teachers like Alan Watts and Eckhart Tolle. And from this detached bird's eye view, a pretty stunning realization can happen. You start to see that most of these thoughts are tools of deception, illusions. Those automatic stories we tell ourselves, our knee-jerk reactions, they aren't necessarily reality. They're just the output of our complex, time-worn matrix. Realizing this opens up a whole new possibility.
A negotiation, as the source puts it, can begin. It's like a dialogue between your renewed self and that calm observer. The goal is to consciously build a life of balance and harmony, an idea that, interestingly enough, echoes the work of psychologists like Carl Jung.
And that leaves us with a final, really powerful question to think about. If our reactive, conditioned thoughts are, in so many ways, just illusions, filtered through our own personal history, what happens when you stop believing them?